I know this is an incredibly busy time of year for many of us. It's busy in a unique way for us clergy. I was at a clergy gathering this morning, a meeting, and one of my colleagues, I asked her how she was doing, and she said, well, I'm keeping my head above water, and that's true for many of us. I got to say, though, this year I'm finding some grace to see my attempts to keep my head above water in the busyness of this season through a different lens, which is just the lens of increased opportunities to connect with people. And whether that's in the increased amount of liturgies and offerings that many of us congregations put on this time of year, which helps me connect more deeply with the people I'm blessed to serve. But there also seems to be something in the water every season of Advent, or at least at the end of the year, that leads me as a clergyman. I know many of us clergy have these stories of coming to points of connection with all sorts of people who may not be really closely tied to our communities of faith. I've already connected with people who have been in crisis or really struggling with grief, because this is such a hard time of year for many of us. And then there's just the sense that during these holy holidays like Christmas and Easter, that many of us feel a stirring to want to connect or reconnect with a community of faith. It's one of the most meaningful things I can do. Yes, it's busy and it's tiring at times, but it really is a gift to be part of a community that's intentional about creating safe spaces for people to come as they are and find meaningful connection. And then in that connective energy, find sustenance and growth as a result. I think of that wonderful Advent story told in the first chapter of Luke, beginning in verse 39, when Mary and Elizabeth visit one another, these two relatives, seeking each other out, seeking to connect with each other. And there's so much connective energy in their encounter that the child in Elizabeth's womb leaps for joy. And not only that, but these two women find the grace to linger in that connection, and from that connective energy find sustenance to keep stepping into this incredible, marvelous mystery of Advent and what God was bringing to birth in both of their wombs. And there's a holy invitation in all of that for us to pause and pray today, reflecting on those connections in our lives, particularly those connections that fill our lives with such a good and wonderful energy. And then make sure we allow ourselves to take some time to linger in those connections, especially during the busyness and the hustle and bustle of this time of year, and allow that good and holy energy we find in those connections to continue birthing something new in and through our lives. Advent peace and blessings to you all.